Good afternoon. I am here to discuss with you how I perceive this role as the midwife coordinator for the Maternal Child Wellbeing and Child Protection Service. The brief that we were given to work with was as follows. As an inaugural coordinator, what would be your 3 priority actions to improve the effectiveness of the Maternal and Child Wellbeing and Child Protection Service for women and their whānau and the LMC midwives who are working with them? I'd just like to start off by thanking you for this opportunity to discuss with you how I perceive my role to be for this job, and for taking the time out of your busy schedule. I hope that by the end of this presentation you will understand how my 3 top priorities or top phases will help develop this role and improve the effectiveness of your service. And here's just Miss Piggy. We all love Miss Piggy. Right, so to start at the beginning, as this is a new role within the Southern DHB, I believe it would be best to work with the established groups that are already within the service. So from the job description, I believe that we have already multiple agencies that are involved, right from the Oranga Tamariki Hospital Liaison, sort of right down to the social workers, and more importantly from my perspective, obviously, to the LMC midwives for the maternity service in total, as well as our new established outreach clinic. I understand there's also links to external establishments, which again involves Oranga Tamariki, as well as the influence of the police and any other VIP coordinators that are within the Otago region. So I've sort of broken them down into 3 phases. Obviously, when this role is established, it will be sort of an amalgamation of the phases, not necessarily a step-by-step instruction of how this role will be established, but more just an idea of the actions I think that would be important to take. So phase 1 would be to gain knowledge from the midwives within the system. As I am the maternity coordinator, my priorities do lie with midwives in maternity. So I think it's important to open up the discussions with the midwives, LMCs, but as well as our recently established outreach midwives. I have, from obviously the last 4 years while working in Queen Mary, have discovered that there are certain issues already that midwives have. And I think it's just important to be able to document those and ask midwives, put it to them how they would potentially resolve these issues. As you know, they work with these women, they establish a relationship over the 9 months throughout the pregnancy, obviously 6 weeks postpartum, so they can potentially see where these plans might fall through, or just the general barriers to work these plans. So that would be phase 1. And there is just so much research around the importance of sort of baby and infant development and mental health. I just love this quote where it says, early interventions tend to be more effective than later ones. I think that could be described for across the board for many things. but especially relating to those first 6 weeks with the baby. But from a developmental point of view, there has been a lot of research showing the importance of the first 1,000 days of development. As a parent myself, while my children were younger, or during my pregnancy and my training as a midwife, I've sort of always developed very much an interest in it, and a sort of attachment parenting, which has sort of guided me a lot into this first 1,000 days development. As midwives, we are closely involved with women, and we can really see the importance of having such a good safety plan for these women from as early as possible, give them the right, support networks, being able to wrap them in these social networks that could have a huge impact on them and their babies. And as with infant mental health, we know that if the mother is well supported, then she can work to being the best mother she can be. So that is part of phase 1. And this following slide goes on to discuss a little bit more what I was saying earlier about, I think LMCs have sometimes struggled. And as a core midwife myself, when you've looked after a woman on the vulnerable pregnancy list, that sometimes those care plans are not in place as early as we potentially would like, or the woman seems to not always have an understanding of when certain meetings are in place. And then we'd look into the safety plan, and the safety plan would say one date, and then, often these women, by our sheer luck, birth over the weekend, and often those safety group meetings or family group conferences aren't able to happen at that time. And I think these women often have a lot of questions in those first few days, and a lot of them understandably do not want to stay in hospital perhaps until those meetings can happen, and are quite keen for early discharge. So I think if we could have a potential clearer safety plan, I'm not too sure at this stage if women carry their own safety plan with them in their notes. Perhaps that can be something that could be changed. But again, this is, I can only establish that after making contact with the LMCs, the outreach, and just maternity in general. So on to phase 2, or my second priority action. As it says, the next logical step would be to make contact with the current established agencies. I've mentioned those before, sort of the key relationships that were mentioned in our job description. And I've sort of started with the VIP team, social work team, and the Oranga Tamariki liaison officer and child protection team, and the Māori Health Directorate. I think they would have the greatest insight. This is sort of their bread and butter. This is what they deal with year in, year out. And I think as they're the ones who predominantly establish these safety plans, I think from a midwifery point of view, it would be really good to become familiar with what their intentions are with the safety plan and how we can best sort of work together. They have a wealth of knowledge and experience. And as I say in the slide, it would be absolutely dismissive of me not to really listen to them and take their advice. It's such a huge undertaking that there has to be a huge amount of transparency when it comes to information sharing, and everyone has the same aim to work together with each other to ensure these women and their whānau have the best sort of experience with these services, and to feel like we're supporting these women decision making as well. Which sort of leads me on to having regular meetings. I understand these are happening already. I have yet not attended one. There's several sort of, I'm aware that they're happening, but it's probably not one of these sort of public meetings where everybody can sort of attend, but it would be vital to attend these meetings. I would encourage LMCs to attend as well. I think that would be probably more pertinent to them if they were having a woman, their families that were on the vulnerable pregnancy list. But I think it would also be a great way to touch base with how they found the service. Perhaps they could say with a particular family there was these issues, or they felt like they needed more support. And I think these meetings would be great because we'd have everybody in attendance that could respond to that, or be like, okay, well, maybe we could try this, maybe we could try that, maybe that didn't work well for that family, and perhaps we can try something different. Or, well, actually, I had a family in a similar situation, and this really worked well for them. So it'd be a great way just to have, again, transparent, streamlined information sharing, where we can all sort of come away with either having our concerns heard, or being able to offer our opinions or our advice about certain situations, so it doesn't end up like the board beneath, where there's just post-it notes everyone, and not a real clear, concise way of dealing with it. I think after these first two priority actions, I think once I've discussed with the midwives and or the other whānanga agencies, are there any other groups that could provide information or services, or just an extra set of eyes, just another support network around these families. Perhaps you have some women who have got very unwell children, asthmatics, or with very long-term medical conditions, who are frequent flyers with their GPs and have that great rapport and relationship. It would be great to be able to access that information from the GP, from a safety point of view. And I think from a maternity aspect, these women are not just having one child, they're having subsequent pregnancies, and after 6 weeks as midwives, we don't really have any contact with them at all, except maybe to bumping into each other at the supermarket. So a GP has a little bit more insight, perhaps taking the mum and the baby out of their home, and maybe the practice nurse with their immunisations being able to discuss things. Maybe there's new bruises on the baby, or the well child providers. After we discharge them at 6 weeks, the well child providers don't see them as frequently. So there's sort of the support networks, those core support networks, sort of drop away. So if the GPs see these babies more often, or these toddlers more often, you have potentially a safety net in place. And while I have your attention, I would also like word peace. Just thought, I'm asking for the world, so why not ask for world peace while we're here? So finally, we're on to phase 3. Yay! Kind of got there, and as I've so sarcastically put, as we know, 1 + 2 is 3. So, sort of in summary, my final phase will be just to combine all the knowledge from those first 2 phases, and use that to develop guidelines, procedures, policies, all those other technical terms you'd like to use. But I think for me personally, this is a completely new role to me. It's a completely sort of new service to enter at this level. I think that the most appropriate step would be to just really get in amongst it, talk to the people who know this well, talk to the people that are using the service, and just get an idea. I mean, the brief says to improve the effectiveness. That's assuming that there is areas that are ineffective, and I will never, I don't think you ever should go believing in the service that there's ineffectiveness, but I think working amongst it with the people who use it and have set it up, I think would be a great way of perhaps enhancing certain things. And that can only happen when you immerse yourself in the role. I saw this statement, and I thought it was very, very befitting. It says, effectively, change is almost